get off in this motherfucker.
All right.
I had my folks online last night. He had to put a goddamn skull cap around. So
Yeah.
yeah. But where you from, bro?
I'm from Holly Ridge.
Where's Holly Ridge? I'm an East Side nigga.
Yeah. Oh, that Hollywood Road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the next part of the Hollywood Coast. If you got down going towards Scott Crossing,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, towards Browntown Road and all that.
Yeah. How old are you, bro?
You familiar with Hollywood Road?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I said, how old are you?
40,
You 40. How long you been locked up?
15. February 2nd gonna be 15 on the head, right?
Damn, 15 on the head.
Yeah.
What's the charge, bro?
Shit, murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Let me see. So you been locked up 15 years, bro. What's the status on your appeal?
Shit. The status on the pill currently is, I mean, you know, it's interesting you ask that, right?
Yeah.
Because okay, technically they say that in Georgia, 3 to 5 years is typically average for a direct appeal process, you know, through emotional trials, you know. Okay, so here it is. I got convicted August 21st, 2012. Okay, so that's been over 13 and a half years ago, and I'm still at the stage of motion for new trial. My current case has been through the motion for new trial stage, denied, to the Supreme Court stage, denied, and you know, currently they, I guess, doing whatever post conviction method that they doing at this time. But uh I'm still at the motion for new trial stage, 13 and a half years going on 14 years later.
Damn. So what is your attorney saying about your appeal?
Well, that's interesting. The attorney actually ain't saying nothing. And although this appellate delay, it is deliberate. Um, the attorney hadn't corresponded with me none throughout, you know, well, but one time throughout this whole process of him being on this case. He been on the case at least since August 21st, 2020. Okay, so that's almost 6 years ago, and his name is J.M. Rafaf, uh, out of Roswell, Georgia. So he's with the public defender's office, but he used to be, you know, he used to have his own private firm. And he was a conflict attorney initially on the case, and then he got off the case, and then he got put back on the case as a public defender. You know, that was kind of interesting too, because usually you don't see the attorneys digress. You usually see them progress. Either they come from the public defender's office, then get their own attorney firm, or you usually don't see them get their own attorney firm and then go back to the public defender's office. But that's kind of how they went in my situation. He currently still is on the case, and I talked to him one time when I was at Hayes State Prison, in February 16th of 2024. He came and see me for the first time almost 3.5 years into the case. And I asked him, well, why hadn't you responded to me in any of my letters? Why hadn't, you know, I been able to contact you? Why hadn't you came to see me or anything? You hadn't wrote me or nothing. You know, let me know the status of my appeal. And he said, oh, well, what address did you write? Was it the 1575 Oakwood Drive, Roswell, Georgia address, 30075? I said, yes, sir. That's the one you gave me. He said, yeah, that wasn't real. That was a fake address. Here. And he placed his card in the window, and he asked me to write that down. I wrote his new information down on South Atlanta Road in Roswell. So again, why would I be given the wrong address? You know, this being my attorney, I've been given the wrong address to contact him, and I see him 3.5 years later, for the first time, and he tell me, okay, well, this was a fake address the whole time. So currently, I mean, here we is in 2026. Currently, I still hadn't heard from him since then. That was the one and only time since the duration of him being on this case, August of 2020, that I've heard from him. I heard from him one time, February 16th, 2024. It's currently January 2026, and I hadn't heard nothing from him, nothing from the court. Of course, in due diligence, I write the clerk office. You know, I'm not one of the ones that just sit in here and just, put all my responsibility on other people and just say, hey, just tell me when my situation gonna be over with. I got due diligence. So, I asked for the status. I request for documentation from the clerk. No response. Here we is going on 14 years.
All right, let's back up a little bit. So how old were you when you got locked up, bro?
I was 25 when I got incarcerated on this case.
All right, so you been a chain gang before?
Yes, sir. I've been in prison before, but it was in the state of Florida that time.
So you from Florida or you from Georgia?
I'm from Atlanta, right?
Yeah. What you were doing
And
in Florida?
uh, on a trip, a little vacation, and went on vacation, end up on probation type situation, and immature at the time. I was like 19 years old, and kind of experimenting and mind not in the right place at the time, and stuff didn't go right, and I ended up finding myself in a little trouble down there. So I ended up doing a little prison time down there, a
Okay.
342
Right.
for pistol charge.
Hey, what's going on? Me too. We're gonna be snowed in the weekend. Man, you need to hop on here, man. So uh you got the number, man, and I got your number. I'm gonna be hitting you up because I got gas in my generator. I'm being in the house all weekend. All I'm doing is interviews with the check. Right now we inside Waycross State Prison. We inside the facility. I got my people on the line. He ain't scared of nothing. But had to convince this nigga not to put his face on the screen and put his damn GDC number out there because he don't give no fucks. And I don't need him in the hole because we gonna do this thing. We're gonna have to do it a different kind of way, bro. Let me ask you this. And we're gonna be flipping flopping because I know some of my people they gonna want they want going on. Man, are y'all on lockdown right now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we currently still on lockdown.
I mean, why you keep saying yes sir to me, bro? You keep making me feel old as fuck, man. Stop doing it, man.
Hey man, I was taught to respect the OG, man. So
Hey,
hey,
you
we,
just said you were 40 years old, right?
yeah,
Nigga, you the OG?
I am. Oh, so I'm older than you too.
Nah, I'm 42. I mean, I'm 48. I'm 48, my bad.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna say, but hey, ah,
So
yeah.
you in the open dorm, bro, or you in the two-man cell?
Nah, I'm in a 2-man cell currently. Yeah,
Uh,
I really can't do the open dog thing.
yeah. But they got open dorms at their facility.
Yeah, they do got an open dome facility. The one that I'm familiar with here is at Waycross is our building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure of they got an annex here too. So I'm not sure how the annex is, but they got an annex facility at this place too.
All right. So has the GD blood situation spilled over to that camp?
Not to my knowledge, right? Everything been smooth here. This. I'm gonna be honest. This one of them fives, and when I say fives, I mean I'm referring to a level 5 close security facility. This one of them spots that you got a lot of grown men down here. So um, when people, kind of don't act off of emotion and act with a sound mind, you'll see a lot of intelligible stuff come from groups around here. You know what I mean? Groups being, the speaking on those two that's involved in the circumstance right now. I'm speaking neutrally, me being a civilian,
Okay.
but I got partners all throughout this thing, so you know what I mean, me being from Atlanta, you know what I mean, I got partners everywhere in everything, doing everything, and I get outside Atlanta, I ain't stuck in 285. I ain't one of them. So I definitely got love for humanity and for those who are righteous and civilized. So one thing about this facility down here, I have seen a lot of structure down here, when it's necessary. I have seen that. So I commend that.
Okay. So that's something I've been wondering about because I too am a civilian. I just be trying to be the people with the Marley or
We
something.
need that. We need that. We ain't outdated, you know what I mean? We ain't uncool, it's still cool to be a
Yeah.
civilian. I'm a native baby from Atlanta, man. We ain't had all that going on when we were growing up. I don't knock the new culture, but hey, that ain't my lane.
All right, so let me ask you this: how does a civilian survive? When the heat get turned up and it's show enough active in them.
Well, I mean, if necessary, then you got to be willing to protect yourself by whatever necessary means. And I say it that way, not by whatever means necessary, but whatever necessary means. Meaning, you don't act off of emotion, you don't act off of unsober state of mind. You want to act off of just a sound state, intelligible state, when you respond in this situation. So as long as you're doing that, you can kind of navigate in all your situations and stuff. So
Okay, and so the whole time you've been in there, has it been gangland, or did you come in when it was a tad bit more laid back, or it's been rowdy since day one?
well, I kind of caught the whiff when it was transforming. You know what I mean? I came in the system September 2012, September 5th, 2012 to be exact. So that was kind of the where you start seeing the transition, and then you start seeing the game thing start forming in the chain gang then, right?
Okay, and what was one of the things that you saw that made you understand that okay, it's a little different right now?
Just I mean, just the presence itself. I mean, I'm from Atlanta. I never had really, before I left the street, you had a few. It was cultivating on the street as well. In 2009, 2010, you start seeing them in a lot of areas around the city and stuff. And start cultivating. I got out September 2nd, 2008, from that prison stint I was referring to earlier from Florida. So, and when I came back home, that's when I noticed, oh, okay, well, I'm over here at my uncle's spot in College Park, and I'm seeing games over here on Old Net. I'm seeing games over here on Godby Road, stuff like that. So, I mean, it just the presence alone is different. But like I say, it can it be useful? Absolutely. But if it can it be beneficial or can it be detrimental? It can just as be well detrimental. But what's going to determine the detriment or the benefit? It's going to determine the righteous and civilized mentality of the people that have a say so, the leadership. So, as long as we got sound leadership, as long as we got intelligible leadership, that's actually, doing things as righteous and civilized, it's actually assisting the community, being a pillar in the community, an asset in the community rather than a liability and a detriment to the community. You see what I'm saying? As long as we got that, then the whole gang culture is no problem then. But see, if you give an opportunity to say that it's a problem, if we commit black on black crime, if we commit foolish crime, if we think that we got to steal in order to generate revenue to feed our family and take and rob from people to feed our family, if we don't know no better, have no other life skills other than that, then we give opportunity to paint a bad picture on gangs.
Right.
And I think with that understanding right there, I think that's necessary for the membership, because if so, and if that's understood, then guess what?
What's that?
Everybody that's righteous and civilized is all in cahoots and all on the same tune. So we'll be all on the same accord,
Right.
right?
Yeah, you sound like somebody who go to the law library a lot too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I sound like somebody that got kids, and and I got a life I want to live too. So I can't call my kids and my daughter and talk to her and tell her, well, I can't come home because they won't let me. Even
Right.
though I got a life sentence on paper, I can't allow for that. And I know we'll get to that, further along in our session. But yeah, I can't let that disturb the focus and the mission. And
Without
that's the ultimately get out.
without a doubt. All right. So, what high school did you go to, bro?
Washington High School into ninth grade. I got one report card and dropped out.
Why you drop out?
Uh, too much streets, not enough sense.
When you say too much street, what you had going on in the street?
You know, I mean, just typical juvenile delinquent. You know, you choosing your lane. I mean, what you out here robbing? You out here shooting your guns? You know, you out here selling drugs? You know, you out here in the prostitution ring? You know, you choose your
So
lane.
I'm asking you, what was you doing?
Well, I was disseminating my weapon a little too often.
You said disseminate. First of
I,
all, not a GED word. I'm gonna need for you to reduce your vocabulary to. I got two different not GED words that you're using though. So I need for you to calm this shit down just a little bit.
all right. Okay. Well,
I'm joking. I'm joking, bro. I get you. I get you. So
but for the one, well, we will do that because guess what? We got all types of people from all different walks of life, and guess what? We want to try to accommodate everybody that's willing to be accommodated. So, in other words, I would shoot my gun too much. I would run the people down too
if
much.
you use the word 3 more times, I'm gonna try to use it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to use it. So he say, my people say he mean putting that pistol on. That's a good translation. All right, so you was with the robbery, or you just with the aggravated assault, or what was it a situation? What happened?
Well, no, I wasn't into the robbery. I wasn't that one with the robbery crew. I was more so uh my attitude ain't never been really the issue. My issue was my temper. So it was my temper, then you know, that led to not making sound decisions when I was angry. You see what I'm saying? And then a lot of times that was my way of coping with the anger, you
Okay,
know.
you do know your attitude and your temper kind of correlate though, right?
They do kind of correlate in a sense, but you know, one kind of has to be galvanized in a sense, you know.
Right, right,
Uh,
right, right,
and that's the temper more so because you know usually the temper don't just exist; it kind of has to be flared up. You see what
right.
I'm saying?
Right. Let me
So
go back. Let me
yeah.
go back just a little bit. When you were in school and before you had stuck your foot off in, any nonsense, what did you want to be while you was in school? Did you ever have a time in your life where you like, I want to be this when I grow up?
I wanted to really, I'm gonna say I wanted to really play basketball, right? Like I liked the basketball until I hurt my knee, right? Like I hurt my knee, my left knee ended up getting hurt. Like my I was my ICL and told my patella and my left knee, so I had to have surgery, right? And that,
What grade was you in when all this happened?
well, I was out of school by then, but I mean, I was probably 15 when it happened, though. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? But I was too old to go back to school and play if I, just had my mind right. But I was out of school. I wasn't going to school at the time I injured my knee.
All right. So anything that you ever wanted to be, it don't matter how old you was there ever anything that you wanted to be besides a basketball player?
Uh, Not that I just at the time. I mean, if I speak now, then I could give you a lot of different things. But I want to kind of speak what my mind was like at the time,
Right, right.
and with my to be fair in the situation, and with my mind at the time, I just can't recall really ever thinking about what I want to pursue, what I want to do outside of just I want to hoop. I just want to hoop. Like I want to go somewhere and hoop. You know what I mean? If I can go to a college somewhere and they can just pick me up and I can just hoop, I'll do something like that. But other than that, doing music, maybe. I mean,
Okay.
other than that, I just really didn't have a focus. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have a plan and a goal, and you know what happened when you fail to plan.
Right. Was there a meal in your household?
Uh, as I got a little older, pops was around when I got a little older. But up until I was maybe about 5 or 6 years old, and it wasn't that he neglected me or nothing. He worked a lot, so he just wasn't around a lot, and wasn't around me a lot. So Mom Duke kind of did. Mom Duke, Auntie, Miss Annie Carver home, babysitter. Shout out to Miss Annie Carver home.
Okay. And then the first time you ever get into some real trouble, you're in Florida.
Is in terms of being arrested, incarcerated, right?
Right.
Right.
All right. Then you do how much time in Florida?
Three. I got a 3 year sentence, so I did 2 years incarcerated, and was released, and I had 1 year left on probation. And so When I got out and tried to come back home, they said Fulton County wouldn't receive me back because they said I was a nuisance or something like that, a public nuisance or something along them lines. So they asked, could I get close? What county was close to Fulton County that would be close to home? And I said Clayton. And so they said, if you got somebody that stay in Clayton County, maybe we can get the probation transferred to Clayton County. And so that's what they did in Florida. They got my probation transferred to Clayton County on Citizen Parkway over there in Morrow. And, that's how I ended up getting back home.
Okay. Much love from Chicago, long end shit. What's going on, Chicago? Okay, so then, how do you get arrested for the charge that you incarcerated for now?
You mean like in terms of like how did the arrest take place?
Yeah, how did they put handcuffs on you? Where was you at? Walk us through that day.
Man, you really won't believe this, man, and you really would need to see the February 2nd, 2011 interrogation video from the Fulton County Police Department, which I know is public record, and I'm saying that for a reason. So all our viewers, they could definitely, under the Georgia Open Records Act, they could request for this information in Fulton Superior Court case number 11 SC 100-848, State of Georgia versus Reginald Johnson. You can't mistake the case number. They can't mistake the case number. You entitled to the documentation. What I'm referring to right now is the February, because that's the incarceration date. I got arrested on February 2nd, 2011. So on February 2nd, 2011, I go to the Fulton County Homicide Division. They asked me to come down for an interview. So this was going to be the second time that they was going to try to interrogate me. All right. So unbeknownst to me, they just said it was some information and stuff that they had wanted to talk to me about. So, me wanting to know what happened to, the victim, because the victim was actually my co-defendant's son in this case. Right. So this was involving a 2-year-old child in this case. You see what I'm saying?
Co-defendant's son was unalived?
Right. My co-defendant's son in this case was unalived by a 16 centimeter skull fracture. They said that he had like hemorrhaging on his brain, like his brain swole and had hemorrhaged, and that's what's called subdural hematomas, and he died like a day later from that.
Okay, and so how are they proposing or alleging that he received this fracture or this?
At the time, the detective was trying to figure out whether or not it was a crime or whether it was some type of accident, because they was trying to figure out whether somebody struck him, whether the injury was caused, or whether he could have fell or some type of accident could have happened. So initially, my co-defendant, and I'm gonna get back to what happened too, as far as how they put the handcuffs on. I'm gonna speak on this real quick because you asked me this question. All right. Initially, my co-defendant, she never told him about him
your
falling.
co-defendant was a female.
Her co-defendant is a female. This the woman.
Okay. Now,
right.
Now, what was y'all? You and the co-defendant, was y'all in a relationship or?
We used to be in a relationship. Correct.
All right.
Correct. So at times when she would work during the daytime and I would work during the evening. So in order to help, she being from North Carolina, she didn't have nobody to babysit him and watch him. So once she broke up and separated from her baby father, me and her ended up getting into a relationship. So I told her, well, look, instead of you trying to find a babysitter and pay, I just watch him while you go to work. And then when I go to work, I'll pick you up and y'all just sit at the house until I come home from work. Because she couldn't drive, she didn't have a car at the time. So
okay.
Eventually, this day, December 9th, 2010, I go and come home about 4:45 that morning, right? Yeah. Okay, so he's asleep already. Once I get there, I'm assuming that nothing happened. I didn't know nothing about the fall that took place about 10 minutes before I got there. And I didn't know nothing about that at the time. I found out about the fall at the second interrogation I'm telling you about on February 2nd, 2011.
Now, what was he alleged to have fallen from?
allegedly, she said he was in the kitchen on the chair at the table between the stove and standing on the chair, kind of dancing in the chair. I guess I don't know if it was some music or something on TV. I don't know what it was, but he was kind of dancing in the chair, and the chair slipped from under him, and he fell between the table and the stove backwards on the back of his head.
Okay.
And so, that's how they thinking maybe he could have got the injury, but at the time she didn't say that at first. That wasn't the first thing she said. At first she was saying he had fell like yesterday, the day before. So, of course, detectives would have instantly said, okay, well, if that would have happened, then we would have seen the symptoms take place yesterday instead of right now. So that don't make sense. Right. So and then eventually she came and she said, well, he had fell a little earlier, meaning like a little later, right before Reggie had came home. Okay,
hold on, let me ask you this: how old is she?
How
old was she at the time? At
the time, I want to say she was 25, right? No, no, I take that back. She had to be 20. She had to be 23 at the time, because I was 25.
That her only child?
Yeah, that was her only child, right?
Do you have children?
Yeah, I do. I do got children.
Okay, so when that child was 2, how old were your children?
My children was 5, 3, and 1 not born yet.
All right, so you had 1 on the way, and you had 2 other children.
Right, one was born unannounced to me until I was already incarcerated.
Okay, so I'm just asking this question so I'm because in my mind I like to ask questions so I can know what the hell going on. So you
ask questions.
You got 3 children. You got 2 children and 1 on the way, but the 1 on the way don't.
Right, I got one with this. My mind, so I got 1 when I leave the street. I know for sure is mine, and then 2 end up being told to me since I've been gone that I know it's possible for being mine, but I got a report with these kids, so I mean, whether they biologically mine or not, they still mine.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
But you over here shouted with.
Right, but I have a biological daughter that I know of at the time. That's 5 at the time, while he's 2.
All right. Okay, so you come to the house, but the baby didn't already fell before you get to the house.
Right, to me at the time, right.
All right. So now you done been brought in for interrogation one time before.
That same day, right. December 9th, 2010, and we was released and let go after interrogation.
Both of y'all was released.
Both of us released. They told both of us that we don't know if this was an accident or a crime, and if it was an accident, then can't nobody be charging this. So, right now we just don't know what's going on. So, we're gonna go ahead and let y'all go, because can't nobody be charged if it's an accident. And just y'all keep in contact with us. If y'all learn anything or hear anything, just let us know. And they let us go.
Okay, so but the thing is, whether if it was an accident or was intentional, you wasn't there when he fell, no way.
Right. I never knew nothing about a fall anyway. Right.
Okay, and then can they prove? Is it in a way that it could? How do we prove that you wasn't there when he fell, or can we?
Yeah. Well, at the time they couldn't prove it. At the time before the arrest, but since then, yeah, they could prove it.
How?
They could prove it. They could prove it since then when the ballistics from the crime lab had came back. It had said that the time frame that it would have had to occur from the injury would have been no less than 12 hours from the time that the doctor had seen the patient, seen him. Okay, and they asked, well, what time did you see him? Okay, and they said, well, that was on the morning of December 9th at 10 a.m. And so then they said, okay, well, so you saying no less than 12 hours prior to that? They said, yeah. He said, okay, well, that will put us at December 8th at 10 p.m. then. He said, yeah, no later than December 8th, 10 p.m. She said, yeah, this district attorney I'm referring to, Fonnie Willis, Fulton County's current district attorney, was the one who actually prosecuted my case along with Adrian Love. All right, so and she's asking the ballistics guy at trial. She says, oh, okay, so you said, so what's the chance that this could have happened, let's say 10:30 or 11:30 on December 9th? December 9th, 10:30 or 11:30 p.m. He said that'd be likely impossible. So you saying it couldn't happen no later than 10 p.m. Okay, so now where was Mr. Johnson at that time? Well, he was on camera at the McDonald's on Riverdale Road at work from 2:20 p.m. to 10:48 p.m. on camera. Clock out receipt to confirm it. Mr. Johnson seen leaving, going from the McDonald's at 10:48 p.m. to the Kroger's in College Park on Old National in Flat Shows. Okay, about 10 minutes later, seen going in the store there. Okay, so now how is it that Mr. Johnson is seen going there, leaving there, approximate driving time, he's seen going in Kroger's on camera. Okay, he's seen leaving Kroger's about 30 minutes later, approximate driving time from that Kroger's to the Walmart on Jonesboro Road, okay, by Clayton State University.
Hold on, because you confusing the shit out of me. What I'm trying to figure out is the time that they saying that the 2-year-old within that window, whether it was that day or the day before that, they have documentation that you weren't at the house.
They have documentation that I was not at the house at that time. The window that they saying that injury had to happen.
Okay, so now in that window, is that window I don't want to say interchangeable, but is it like give or take an hour or two type shit?
They said it was a 12-hour window. That was the only thing that they said. It was a 12-hour window. So then they said, well, 12 hours from the time that I seen the patient. Okay, so when did you see the patient? And they gave the 12 hours from that time to 12 hours back. And so then she said, well, what's the chance that it could have happened at 10:30 or 11:30? He said that'd be likely impossible. She said, okay, well, I guess Mr. Johnson's just really good at what he does. And my lawyer, he said, objection, Your Honor. She can't say that. You misleading. He said, yeah, overrule. You misleading. I mean,
this is what Fannie say.
Yeah, this is what Fannie Willis is saying at the time.
My bad. I don't know why I'm going to call her Fannie. All right, so let me ask you this. So now, your co-defendant, who is your girlfriend at the time, is she insinuating that you had something to do with it, or what that look like?
Nah, she was never insinuating that I had nothing to do with it. It was never no evidence, no physical evidence that I did anything, committed no crimes I was charged with, no witness statement. She never said I did nothing. No admissions on my behalf that I did nothing. I still maintain my innocence for every charge. In the whole entire situation.
All right, so let me ask you this: how much time did she get?
We both got life and 15. Life plus 15 ran concurrent with the life sentence.
Life and hold on, say that one more time. Life and 15.
Right, life plus 15 ran concurrent.
Is she trying to go up for appeal?
Well, her attorney, going through the public defender's office, whatever. Her attorney already, they railroaded and ran her through the system already. This like the system is it can be compared to like a conveyor belt or perceived as a conveyor belt, and they just set you on this conveyor belt and run you through this process just to say that you went through it, to say that they provided you with due process. Okay, but
hold on. When you go to trial with a public defender or a lawyer?
Did I go with a lawyer?
Yeah.
Or a public defender? I went with a public defender too. Both of us did.
And y'all don't have a separate trial?
No, we tried to get a severance. I filed for a severance, and then my attorney filed separately for a severance, and they never denied it. They never responded to it. So they violated the time frame, the procedure on the time frame for that. And I filed for a motion to dismiss on that ground, but that was ignored. That's another situation though. But they never, upheld no time frame, no none of that.
Let me ask you this: do you think that she purposely did something to her son?
Nah, I don't believe she purposely did that to her son. I don't believe that she would have purposely did that to him. But this is what I do know. I do know that sometimes she might be a little rough with him when disciplining him. And that's something I talk to her about sometimes is you want to discipline him, but you don't want to destroy him. I know, that's your little man and you want to kind of
When,
you
hold
know,
on. When you say a little rough, what you mean? Give me an example.
pick him up by his hand and spank him, with her hand and drop him, throw him back down on the ground or something like that.
At 2 years old?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so and plenty times my mama had seen it. When I bring her to the house, my mama seen it plenty times. She'll pull me to the side and say, look, I don't like how she handling that boy like that. But I know that's not your child, and you can't tell her what to do, but just make sure she don't handle him like that because I just seen how she just handled him. One time my mama was carrying him and he was kind of pulling on her hair. My mama got long hair. So he was pulling on her hair, just playing like a regular child. And so she seen him doing that. And instead of my mama saying something, because she was all right with it, she snatched him out my mama hand with one arm, snatch him by one arm out her hand, throw him on the ground, start spanking him and whipping him.
All right. So was any of this documented?
Nah. None of that wasn't documented. Nah.
Has defects or anybody ever had to get on her about anything in regards to
That I don't know, right? I don't know, right? I wouldn't know that, right? Not to my knowledge, though. Not in the time me and her was dealing with each other. Nah.
So and you had described, like, I don't know if it was a knot on his head or I don't understand. You had to gave me the number or the measurements.
Right.
Can you explain that to a fifth grader? I ain't saying I'm as smart as a fifth grader. I'm just saying when you had said the numbers, I had got confused. I was like, this is not GED math right here. So I need for you to translate that so that I can understand.
Right. All right. So about across the back, like the back of his head, like in a spine, like a down straight down the back of his head, the middle of the back of his head. Picture like if you was to open the inside of your arm and where they give you that shot, they looking for that good vein in your arm.
Right.
You know how that vein feel? All right. Picture that vein running down the back of the middle of his head. And so I eventually feel that when I bring him back from, laying him down on the bed, because I tried to give him a shower. He went back to sleep, and I tried to give him a shower. We didn't get that far earlier, but I tried to give him a shower and brought him back.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that he could have possibly failed or received the damage while you was at work, right?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, that had to be what happened.
Okay, so now here's my question. Why are you giving him a bath for why are you
Nah, he wasn't unconscious at that time.
Okay, so he went unconscious, but he was visually
he wasn't visually look like he fell or nothing. At the time, he did nothing look wrong.
Okay, so at this time, both of y'all at the house or just you at the house with the boy?
No, at this time, I just dropped her off and we just got back to the house and I just brought him back in the house.
Right. And then
And changed.
Who called the police?
Well, nobody called the police. We took him to the ER. We took him to South Fulton ER.
Okay, and then they concluded that
that he had some type of head injury. So they was trying to figure out, well, how did he sustain a head injury? So they asking her this apparently while I'm parking, in the car garage or whatever. So by the time I get in there, they asking me, okay, well, who are you here for? I'm like, well, I'm here for Mikhail. I'm looking for, Mikhail. Mikhail came here. So they said, okay, yeah, the child that just came in. I'm like, yeah. So they was like, okay, come over here. So I went over there. She was talking to some caseworker lady at the time when I walked up on them. So I'm assuming they was already asking her all this stuff before I came in the hospital. So we signed some type of paper, sat in the waiting room. About 10 minutes later, that's when the doctor, officer, the detective came in and started telling me what was going on.
All right, let me ask you this. So the doctor, the detective, and whomever else there, they came to a conclusion based on the injury that he had that it couldn't happen from a fall.
They didn't know at the time, and that was the problem. They rushed judgment. You rush and put that's going to lead to what happened on February 2nd in the interrogation room. To why I got incarcerated, because that was one thing you needed to know to determine, kind of what happened and who might have been around when it happened. They didn't determine that at that time.
No. What I'm asking is, when they look at the injury,
Right.
you look at a car and you say, "Oh, that car got dented like this.
Right.
That
Right.
hit somebody hit that car." What they
Right.
saying is, they looking at this 2-year-old and they saying he didn't fall. Some extra shit came along with this. He didn't just fall on his own.
Right. Nah. That they didn't say that. Nah. When they were seeing the injury, they were just saying that it was no external bleeding, and they were saying that they didn't know, whether it was a car accident that caused it, whether it was a fall that caused it, or whether somebody actually it was impact that caused it. Somebody hit them. They just didn't know at the time.
Okay.
And that's part of those documents and stuff that I had sent you to with those transcripts. That's gonna confirm everything I'm referring to about that too.
All right. One more question. So, what was said in the second uh
Interrogation.
interrogation that one, and also me and you gonna have to talk offline in reference to that the open record shit. Because if that's,
Right.
and that means we can look at it, right?
Right. We need to be able to pull all this up because this was intentionally omitted from being played at trial, that's what I'm getting
So
ready to
hold on.
explain.
Can't you go get that information?
I didn't try to get the information. They wouldn't. They ain't been given to me. They hadn't even given me the trial transcripts.
No, this is the thing. If it's public record, anybody can get it.
Anybody is entitled to get it under the Georgia Open Records Act. Anybody's entitled to get it.
So anybody is able to go get it, but you haven't been able to go get it.
I hadn't even been able. They hadn't even get Fulton County haven't even given me the trial transcripts, and we talking over 13 and a half years ago.
That don't sound right. Cause if it's open records, then have you sent somebody else to try to go get it?
I done sent people many a times to the clerk office and tried to get it. I didn't call myself and tried to get it. I got the case summary right here showing all the filings with me requesting for all this stuff. Oh, since 2014, 15, all the way up into currently last year. Got the case summary showing all of this stuff.
All right. So do either
Got
one do
letters
either
from
one
attorneys.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying something?
Yeah, I said I got letters from attorneys showing that I'm requesting for those documents. Uh, Still nothing. I mean, it's a reason why you would want to go AWOL in a case. If you got a defendant in a case, if you got the defendant by evidence guilty in the case, then there's no reason to tamper with the evidence. There's no reason to procrastinate in dealing with the case, keeping it on a backlog with appeal. There would be no reason to do that, right? My co-defendant not still waiting to go to appeal.
Okay. Um, how long does the trial last?
It lasted 2 weeks, so like 8 days total, right?
Right. Um,
8 calendar days total.
do they show pictures of the little boy at the trial?
Yeah, oh, they did that. I mean, that's part of the mission. That's to help inflame and passion into the minds of the jury. So I mean, they're gonna do that at any trial. But when you're dealing with a child, I mean, or elder, or a sex crime, I mean, that come on, we know how that's gonna turn out, regardless of the allegations,
All right.
no
Oh
facts
no.
being proved.
Let me ask you this. So when you look at the injuries that this young man, this little boy, this baby sustained, and I don't know if you could take yourself out of the situation. If you just had to look at the evidence, would you say that he fell, or would you say that somebody added some extra shit off in there?
if I had a chance to see it after the crime results had came back, then I would say that it's possible that he fell. Why? Why would I say that? Okay, because considering what she said in her statement and considering the results that came back from the crime, like they asked the questionnaire to the doctors and they asked, well, could that have been sustained from standing to falling? And they said that that could have been sustained from standing to falling or falling from a short distance. And I got that on the transcripts that I sent you. Okay, so then if that had been known prior to them making the arrest, how could none of this is what a good detective would have did. She said that this happened in the kitchen at that time earlier that day, about 10 to 15 minutes before I got there, right? Okay, so now if we find out that this injury could have in fact happened by falling from a short distance or standing and falling, now what do we got to discredit that statement? As a detective, ask yourself right now, what would we have to discredit that statement? If we got her saying that happened and we got this evidence from the crime lab saying now that this could have happened from standing and falling, what would we go with?
I don't know.
And that's the perspective when I answer that question that I'm coming from.
All right. So when was the first time you tried to file for appeal?
Oh, as soon as the trial was over, the attorney filed it, the next day.
And so then what determination do you get back from that?
Well, they didn't give me an appellate lawyer for 7 years. For 7 years, they denied me. The public defender's office denied me appellate counsel for 7 years, right?
Is that legal?
No, it's not. You got a Sixth Amendment right to effective counsel in a direct appeal as well.
Did anybody else come in contact with the little boy besides y'all two?
In like that last week, no.
I ain't talking about the last week. I'm talking about within the time.
Not to my knowledge, no.
What
In that
about?
last 24 hour window, not to my knowledge, no.
But you at work for a whole shift doing this whole ordeal.
And then leave work and then go to 2 grocery stores and then to a friend house and then back home at 4 something in the morning.
Hey man, we're gonna talk offline, but it seemed like, yeah, we'll talk offline. I don't want to share how I feel, but
Yeah, facts.
yeah, somebody did something because otherwise he wouldn't be dead.
Somebody did or allowed something, so either way it goes, whether
Either
it
way
was
it go, it was allowed to
or
take place. You didn't do it, and you allowed it to take place. That's the same.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So right now, you hadn't had access to all the details of the case, and they denied the appeal.
When you say access to all the details in the case, I just hadn't had access to certain documents that I've been requesting in order to expose certain information in the case, like the fact that I was arrested with no arrest warrant. But nah, the details of the case, I got the details of the case.
All right. So what?
So I want to speak on what happened on February 2nd too, when we got there.
Come on with
This how the handcuffs get put on me, and how then now we get a theoretical story to be placed behind the handcuffs. Okay, so now when we got to homicide on February 2nd, 2011, they had us sitting together at that time. The first time they had us in 2 separate rooms, right? Okay, so this time they got us sitting at the table and they try to reinterrogate us again, pretty much ask the same question they asked us on December 9th, 2010. So I looked at the detective, I said, oh, well, I didn't come to do no interrogation. So, you said you had just wanted to inform me about some information. So I wanted to know what happened. I want to know what happened to him. So that's why I came up here. I don't have nothing to hide. I'm not running from nobody, running from nothing. So that's why I came. I voluntarily drove there. So I'm here trying to find out what's going on. You try to reinterrogate. I said I'm not here.
Have you heard her interrogation?
No, not other than when we was at the table that day. Just for this like 10 minutes.
Y'all was in interrogation together?
This time they put us in the same room together at the same time.
This is the second interrogation, y'all in the same interrogation room.
Right. The second interrogation, they got us in the same room this time. The first interrogation, they had us in separate rooms the whole time.
Let me ask you this, because the first time y'all get interrogated, y'all both go home.
We both go home. They both let us go.
What is that conversation like?
Okay, and they let us. When you say that conversation, you mean at the end when they let us go?
No, when you and your co-defendant, the mother of the child, when y'all go home, what is that conversation like?
We don't go to the same house. She go with her daddy.
Do y'all talk?
No, we don't talk until maybe a week or two before we go back on February 2nd, the second interrogation.
All right, so hold on. So her child is dead.
Right.
They call both of y'all into interrogation. Y'all speaking up until this point.
Right.
All right. Then y'all get interrogated separately.
Right.
And when y'all leave, y'all don't talk about nothing.
No.
Okay. Y'all don't talk again until.
So I ain't got shit. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to talk about. What I'm talking about? What am I calling you to talk about? What happened to him? If you can't tell me what happened to him, what am I calling you to talk about?
I mean, shit. In my mind, I'm gonna add if you have brought up 3 situations where she didn't. I ain't gonna say child abuse, but you just said situation where she was a tad bit aggressive when disciplining the child, right?
In my opinion, and obviously in my mama's opinion,
And you didn't say nothing to her about that.
I said something to her about it, yeah, but we ain't calling no police about it.
Nah, that ain't what I'm talking about. Cause
Yeah, of course
you
I
said
said
something to her right then when it took place, is what you said.
every single time,
Now, hold on.
and
Dude,
that's on the trial record.
you said what?
She, that's on the trial record. She testified on the stand and said that
All right,
when
so during the interrogation, do you ever bring up the do you ever bring up the number of times that she has been aggressive with her son?
Nah, I didn't tell them nothing about her being aggressive toward him. I just told them I didn't think that she would intentionally do nothing wrong to him though.
But you have seen her intentionally do something wrong to him.
In terms of disciplining him, yeah, but just walking up to him and physically just abusing him, not in that sense. But being a little too, I think, in my opinion, a little too rough. Sometimes when you discipline, it wasn't. Now I don't want to make this sound like that's all she did and that was the only way she disciplined. I'm
No,
not saying that.
but I'm just saying.
But I'm saying there have been those times when you see what I'm saying.
She physically abused, well, not
Yeah,
maybe physically abused. You can say it how you want to say
corporal,
it.
the corporal, to me, the corporal punishment was a little too strong for him at that size and that age, in my opinion. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I used to tell her all the time, look, you and she testified verbatim on trial. He used to always say that you want to discipline him and not destroy him. You don't want to scare him. And when you do physically, if you're going to use physical discipline, when you do that, you want to sit him down and you want to talk to him and explain to him why you did that so he understands.
All right, let me ask you this: did the child have some type of mental disorder?
Not that I know of, right? I'm not saying that he did or didn't, but it wasn't apparent. If he did, it wasn't apparent.
You don't have access to that information?
Nah, I
Okay.
mean that wasn't in the case. I mean, I got access to the information, a lot of the information that was details in the case.
Did she have some type of mental disorder? Or
It in terms of diagnosis, I don't know, but I mean, a little angry, a little fast to get angry sometimes. Okay, I was a little fast to get angry sometimes. So, but that still wouldn't say, okay, well, that means she did something to her child.
she ever get arrested for anything?
Not to my knowledge, yeah. They said that the only time she had the police called on her at trial, they said the only time that they had the police called on her was when her baby daddy called the police on her. She tried to stab him and like 5 girls in the apartment one time. She come back from work. He got like 5 women in the apartment and cheating on her or whatever, and she, I guess handled it that way. But that what was said at trial.
All right, so uh, I'm gonna ask your permission to speak freely.
Okay.
Hey man, ain't no way possible I'm going to jail for a child being unalive and I didn't do it. Somebody did it because the
And
child,
I agree.
and she
I
done showed you
agree.
signs that she could be abusive when it's not necessary.
Mhm.
Man, but no, we'll talk offline, man. We'll talk.
And get what? And get what? From a 40-year-old mind, you hearing what you saying right now? And,
Yeah,
and we gonna still talk online, but we gonna still say this to let our viewer hear this, cause I like authenticity. I mean, we don't need to hide nothing or lie to these folks. So from what I'm saying, from a 40-year-old mind and a mature mind now, I would agree with that perspective. But 25-year-old mind, having nothing to do with nothing wrong, I'm the one called for help. I'm the one took him to the ER. I'm the one that signed the paperwork. I'm the one that brought the patient to the hospital. Who in their right mind cause an injury to a child, bring them to the hospital, sit at the hospital, and sign their name and saying they don't want to bother? Who do that?
all right, okay, hold on. Let me ask you this: had you ever had to discipline him the entire time that you knew him? Had you ever had to discipline him?
Have I ever disciplined him?
Yeah.
Of course, right. Either I would speak to him. Normally, I would speak to him, but there's times that where I would spank him with a belt too.
All right, so you have spanked him with a belt.
I have spanked him with a belt before. Correct.
Why?
Just depending on what the circumstances was, the magnitude of what he did. I mean, there's levels to it. I mean, uh, if being disrespectful to his mom, or maybe try to put his finger in the socket. You want to try to create a sensation of fear. Hey, don't never do that again. Now I don't never want to go through that again. Levels to it. You see what I'm saying? Every disciplinary measure don't recall for physical discipline. I don't believe that.
I don't. I got daughters and a grandson, but see, I don't. We don't spank. I don't spank. I don't spank. But in my mind, I can't understand how a 2-year-old. I can't see myself hitting no 2-year-old with nothing, not my hand, not. And I'm just thinking out loud. But see, I don't.
And that's your opinion, and that's fair. Get what? Did you get disciplined with a belt or anything like that when you were growing up?
Yeah, but my dad used to smoke crack.
But that's still poxy. And did he do it?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
he ever
yeah,
discipline
yeah.
you with a belt?
I kind of feel like I was child abused, but that's that old school shit. That's what they
I'm
was.
saying, did he ever get incarcerated for child cruelty
Hell
or
no,
abuse?
hell no.
So that's what I'm saying. So when
I
I was
think I
growing
might be valid retarded too. So we'll go
and,
ahead.
and, and when I was growing up, hey, the same thing. But see what I'm saying? But that I don't agree with ODing on no child or nobody for no reason.
Let me
But
ask you, because you got children. You got.
come,
Have you ever whooped your children?
yep,
Why?
for the same reason, depending on what they do.
All right. What's the name of your page, bro?
Do it make sense? Two, the number two.
Hold on.
That's all one word. Do it make sense to, and the number two at the end. That's all one word.
Do it make sense to? Hold on, I'm finna try to find this shit real quick.
Yep. And so anytime we need to tap in about this situation or any other situation, we need to do that because what we need to hear, we need to let our viewers tap in too, and questions they got, let them bring their questions in because we want to answer questions, whatever they want to know. We want to make sure they get the truth about all this stuff because they're entitled to that.
in the description. And then maybe they have some questions. You never know. You might have a real lawyer that might want to help you out.
For sure. Well, I accept blessings, right? I give them and I accept them.
Right. That makes sense. That makes plenty of sense. Hold on one second. All right.
Because everybody's entitled to knowing the truth. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't feel I would listen if I had something to hide. You think I'd be sitting here talking to you right now? You think I'd be sitting here potentially being exposed talking to you on the internet right now? Sitting here talking to you right.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to
And no, I would.
I think I just put it in there.
Ain't no holes to poke in my character, so ain't no skeletons in my closet. I can go live and talk about this and be uncut and be talking about situations. We can do that. And I got the paperwork to support everything I'm saying when we're ready to show that too.
All right, so there's a link. I just put a link. I don't know if you can do it. I'm trying to pin the message though. Yeah. All right, so if I can't get in the chat, I'm gonna put it in the description, man. Listen, we're gonna talk. But what I want to do, we'll talk off out, man.
Bet.
Now you want to leave with the people tonight, man, before we log about this thing.
Hey man, I wanna appreciate everybody for spending their time joining in, right? One thing about it, I see people opinions popping up. I see that stuff, but one thing about it, you're entitled to that. And what we want to do is we want to ensure that everybody here and the truth and what they're entitled to hear. So y'all send y'all questions, y'all tap in, y'all share this, information because it's a lot. I guarantee you, regardless of what you currently think right now, I guarantee you will learn so much from this situation because I never got a chance to finish what actually took place on February 2nd in that interrogation room.
Come on with it.
Because this is what actually happened in that interrogation room. The detective left after I said I didn't want to be interrogated. Okay, then he came back in about 10 minutes later, clicking handcuffs in his hand, and he looked at me and he say, I should have locked y'all ass up for murder. You don't want to be interrogated. Then he looked at her. I say, with all that bullshit you talking about don't scare me, man. All that threatening me with all that shit don't scare me. That was my response to him. It's on camera. He say, man, I tell you what, get your ass up. I'm gonna charge you with murder. Now you getting charged with murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated battery. Turn around, put your hand behind your back. That's exactly how that took place. Not due to no evidence, not due to no probable cause, not due to because any evidence changed from December 9th when you let us go. And then you magically learn something and have some evidence of some type of criminal wrong or guilt. Nothing changed. And this was the testimony at trial. Nothing changed. No evidence changed. So the same thing you let us go on December 9th, 2010 is the same thing you arrested me for on February 2nd, 2011 because we got into the interrogation room.
Do you think if you wouldn't have said that, he still would have locked you up? Do you think he was going to lock you up anyway?
I can't say, but did I feel like that then? I felt like he was trying to intimidate me, but I can't just say I felt like he was going to lock me up if I didn't say that. I can't say I felt like he was just going to try to lock me up. I can't say that because...
You don't think that they already had a warrant to lock you up?
Well, there's still no arrest warrants in the case now. That's the whole point. That's why I'm trying to get the arrest warrants. Prove you had arrest warrants to lock me up at the time. What evidence did you have?
What was the reason for bringing you in for the second interrogation?
Yeah, that great question. Great question. That's a question of the attorney. I asked the attorney to ask at trial. He told me to shut up. Great question. Because what changed? What's the point of bringing me back for something you already let me go on?
One more question, because I just want to make sure I understand this correctly.
Right.
Between the first interrogation to y'all come back to the second interrogation, the two of y'all never talked.
Other than about a week or maybe a week and a half, give or take, before this, we didn't know we was gonna be called to go back to a second interrogation at the time. So I'm just saying it was roughly a week or maybe a week and a half or so before we got a call to say, hey, on February 2nd, can you meet us at Homicide?
All right, so this is what I'm asking you right here. Y'all get interrogated.
Right. And did not talk after the interrogation until about a week and a half, a week into that second interrogation. So for about a
So,
month and a half, yeah, no,
but y'all did talk to each other.
before interrogation, right. Again, we didn't know we was gonna be a second time. We didn't know that was coming.
But y'all did talk.
Right.
All right. What was that conversation like?
Right. That conversation was like, okay, well, what all did they talk to you about? You know, and she told me everything they asked her. And I pretty much told her everything they asked me. And she was like, okay, well, that's pretty much the same thing they asked me. And I said, well, they was telling me that you said that I did something. They came back and said that you said I did something. And she was like, I never said you did nothing. I said, I figured that. I knew they was trying to play the good cop, bad cop shit and try to make it seem like because I'm the guy, I'm going to be the one that's responsible for some type of wrongdoing. And that's your child. So
So you saying that she told you that they told her that they know that you did something?
no, the white officer told the CSI guy, I don't know his name, but he was the CSI, he was the crime scene technician. He told her, you need to say that he did it so you don't go to jail and get charged with this stuff. You need to say he did
told
it.
you the same thing.
She told me that and she told my daddy that.
No, I'm saying, but did they say the same thing to you?
Who, the police?
Yeah.
Nah, they never told me to tell on her so I don't go to jail. Nah. They never contacted me, period. I didn't get contacted until about January 28th or 29th, and then they asked could I come in that Wednesday, which would have been February 2nd.
And y'all got the same amount of time.
Correct.
And y'all had the same public defender.
No, not the same public defender, but we both had public defenders though. Yeah, and hold on, check this out. Add this with that. Add this with that question too. Why is her appeal done and her conviction final as of August 2022, but yet you, her co-defendant, that was taken to trial the same time, convicted on the same so-called evidence, still waiting for his appeal 13 and a half going on 14 years later? Why?
I don't understand what you're saying. Say that a different way.
Okay, my question is, they ran her through her appeal process, right?
So she did go back for an appeal.
Right, she did hers already.
And what happened?
Right, she was found. They affirmed the conviction, and then they appealed it to the Supreme Court, and they affirmed the lower court decision. So her conviction got affirmed by the Supreme Court as of August of 2022, right?
Okay.
Right. So she gonna have to habeas corpus, writ of certiorari. That's the kind of lane she gonna have to go in this time. I don't know currently what she's doing because I ain't had no communication with her during our incarceration the whole time we've been locked up.
So y'all don't write each other or nothing?
We haven't been able to do it. When we tried to do it, they wouldn't let us do it. They don't really let me write too tough to nobody. That's just the kind of treatment I've been getting, during my time here.
Okay. We definitely gonna talk off air, and because a lot of the stuff I don't understand. So as you can see, I'm a very practical person. I'm very simple.
Yeah, and you need an understanding of it. I mean, because
So some of the stuff that's going on, I really don't understand it because I'm not a lawyer. And when I was in China, I never went to the law library because I know it was a mandatory minimum. So I never, when you're using some of the terms that you're using, I don't really get it. If I gotta, I'm gonna say that, but somebody killed that baby. Somebody killed that baby. somebody got to go down for that. Somebody got to go down for that. And if it wasn't me, and it wasn't number two of us in there. If it wasn't me, then the other person. That's how my mind works. If I know I didn't do it, you telling me somebody did it, and I know it wasn't me, shit.
Yeah, and get what? And this the thing. Nobody can prove that it didn't happen the way that she said. So that's why I'm saying, okay, well, if you can't prove that this didn't happen the way she's saying, then that would mean that no crime occurred. That would mean it's more of a negligence on her behalf, since she let him dance in the chair and he fell out the chair and got the injury.
Nah, we passed the negligent part.
That wouldn't be a crime if that happened like that. I mean, I'm just not in a position to make no judgment on something I don't know nothing about. That's all I'm saying. You know, just because I'm a defendant on the case, don't mean that I was there whenever the injury occurred.
All right, well, that's awfully nice of you. Again, I don't know the law, but I'm like this. See, I'm scary as hell. I'm no real street nigga, and I don't care nothing about nothing but my freedom and my family. If me and you or me and somebody else somewhere and some shit happened and I don't have nothing to do with it and that shit got done, man, y'all need to get the motherfucker who did that. I didn't.
Get what? That's why I voluntarily drove to homicide, because I had nothing to hide, nobody to run from. And guess who we talking about? We talking about somebody that called me dad. Did he call me dad? He never called his real daddy. He called me daddy. So now this somebody that never was taken to a park before. I'm the one introduced him to Washington Park. This somebody had never had took their son to go out to eat before. I introduced him to Unc's Tasty Spot. I introduced him to sitting down at McDonald's and going to get him a Happy Meal.
Hold on real quick. Charlie Glover, what's going on, man? We're gonna be snowed in this weekend, man. I need that. And Kobe. Your people on here too, man. I talked to right.
Shout out to that boy Kobe, man. Shout out to that MacTown spot, man.
Yeah. I was down in MacTown today. Well, I was in Warner Robins. I went to Warner Robins today.
Shout out to that Wartown spot, man. I remember that Middle Georgia spot.
Yeah. This is what I'm gonna do, cause I gotta tap in with Washington State Prison tonight, man. But what we gotta do, we definitely gotta talk, and then I'm gonna show you how to build your shit up, and then we'll go.
For sure.
Hold on. Is there something else that you want to add? Cause I don't never want to.
I mean, I just wanted that to be a part of this footage right here too, about how the handcuffs got placed on me, and that the fact that the handcuffs didn't get placed on me based on witness testimony, based on some type of physical evidence, based on any type of admissions. The handcuffs got placed on me because of an argument and a disagreement that I wouldn't let him interrogate me the second time in the interrogation room. And the February 2nd, 2011 interrogation video will confirm everything I'm telling you. Why was that not played in trial then?
Oh, the interrogation wasn't played in the trial?
No, that part of the interrogation was not played in trial. They played bits and pieces of the interrogation in trial.
Let me ask you this. What key information you think will free you?
I think that right there information, if we can see that video, then that was interrogation video, then guess what? That would confirm that they had no intent on arresting me based on no type of evidence or probable cause.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that based on what their intentions were when you went in for the second interrogation, because they didn't have a search, because they didn't have an arrest warrant, that would free you up?
Absolutely, because they didn't have an arrest warrant, and it's the reason they didn't have an arrest warrant. The only evidence that they sought to try to place any type of criminal liability on my end was to, one, they had to see when the time frame that the injury could have occurred, and two, they had to check the evidence, the belts that they took and the 2 sheets they took for evidence to see if that had anything to do with a crime. And
Hold on,
at the
hold on, hold on.
time, they took two leather belts, my work belt, and they took her work belt.
What they do with them? Why they take the belts?
They took the belts because they were saying that, okay, well, if y'all had discipline with the belts before, we want to take the belts too, just to test them and see if that had anything to do with the crime. So they asked them at the preliminary hearing, well, why would they take the belts? Was you saying that the belts caused the murder? He was saying, nah, that the belts wouldn't have been consistent with causing the injury. So then why the hell you took the belts then?
What else did they take?
The belts and some sheets, like two bed sheets.
What the sheets was for?
The two bed sheet, one of the bed sheets had like speckles, like her menstrual cycle on or some shit, and then one had like a little speckle of some of her blood on the other sheet too. But he had no external bleeding in the case, so we knew it wasn't his blood.
So I'm saying she bled on the sheet.
That was like, I guess she said a week, 2 weeks old, just like a speckle of menstrual cycle blood on the sheet.
Hold on. So she got period blood on the sheet sitting in the house for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that what they said.
Let me ask you this. Did she have roaches in this apartment?
Not really. Not really.
What the fuck do not really mean?
I mean,
You got roaches. You see a roach in there.
you know what I'm saying? This ain't something you typically doing, but I'm saying, have I ever seen a roach in there before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen a roach, but I'm saying this wasn't no roach infested apartment though. No, they wasn't got. Yeah, they wasn't call your heights.
All right. Okay. All right, man. I got down. This we gotta come back and talk about this one. We got to
come on, man. We did that. We got to do this.
Yeah, we got.
Get what? And while we got our audience, if you want to give us a time and a date, we can redo this so they can catch this from the top, and we can do this again.
I'm gonna post this. They're gonna be able to go back and do it. What I want to do is add the physical evidence to it and understand some of the terms. Cause see, I don't know the procedures. I'm just a common sense type dude, man. You know, I just base shit off my naturalistic observation. I'm no lawyer. I'm no attorney at law. I'm not even the smartest person that you're gonna talk to today. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, I don't try to live outside of what my education allows me to do, if that makes sense. If I don't understand something, I'll be like, I don't. But what I do understand, I'm gonna understand that to the fullest. So what I'll say is, when you use some terms I don't understand, and then in my mind, I like to say that some shit I just don't want to say. Some shit I just don't want to say because I don't know. And, you know, if you say shit and you don't know, sometimes you gotta mouth shit until you know. That's what I'm with. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
But I am open to listen and to review anything. And shit, look like we all gonna have time to goddamn do whatever.
That's growing.
But bro, I appreciate you getting on here, man. And we're gonna log off. Y'all, hey man, it's 63 people in here, man. I need for y'all to hit that screen, double tap that screen, man. Double tap that screen. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna have to put another thumbnail on, because we started all talking about the game, but this shit got deep. This shit got deep. It got
Exactly.
I don't think I done had one this deep before. I appreciate your patience, man. Keep your head up in that motherfucker. They still y'all still on lockdown, of course.
Yes, sir.
All right, and hey man, keep your head, man. Keep your head up, man. We're gonna get back with you, man, and we'll talk later on, bro.
For sure, we'll do.
All right.
All right, brother.
All right. All right, y'all. I'm finna get with my people, man. We probably gonna go to Macon. No, we're gonna go to Washington State Prison. So y'all stay tuned, man. Say you're on that boat right case. But love. No, there is a butler on the boat right case, but I'm not that butler. You better fuck off. My first name is Dana. There's a butler on the boat right case, but we ain't got the first name. And that nigga locked up for rape and murder. So no. No, it's not me. Hold on, don't goddamn, don't play. We can bring it up. It's public, bro. You can put Boatwright versus Jadidi, the state of Georgia. In that case, it come up. It's not the people who that's murder and rape, man. Stop playing. Oh, okay, my bad. You talking about you first? Stop playing with me. I just started itching like a motherfucker. Don't be playing with me like that. Hell no. All right, man. We out, man. I'm finna tap in with my folks at Washington State, Chris. We out, man.